This final video for this lesson is about using that summary data that we aggregated here from the previous data that we read in, and using that aggregated data to produce something that looks like this. So for example, we can put it to a file. So if you see on my directory, or after you run this code, you should have a summary underscore AY21 underscore 1, and it has the first letter, the number of students, and the credit hours. So you should have something that looks like this when you get done. And this is a huge file, and we've aggregated it to this. And so maybe we can answer questions about how many students are taking these types of courses, or what is the credit hours for that type of course, or whatever. So that's the idea behind it. Can you use this now to sort of make decisions and things of the sort? So let's go ahead and jump into, so remember we have this and we produced this last time, and we're going to use this in order to produce our output. Okay, so this all came from the last, so if I were to press the button here, we get this thing that I just said we own already, and now we want to use this in order to be able to, I think last time I called it summary stats, but I just changed the name to summary data. Summary data makes a little bit more sense to me. First thing we're going to do is come up with a file name, right? So I'm going to use the same file name that we have in the past. Again, naming conventions are key here. Plus semester, and I believe semester should still be, yes, AY21-1, and then plus, and remember what the plus does, it concats these two, but it doesn't put a space in between them. If I put a comma there, it would put a space, and we don't want that. So the plus does what we need it to do, and then dot txt, because we don't want any spaces in there. And the first thing that we want to do is print, and the things that we're going to print are, let's see, department, put a space in there, DPT, space, another space, then we'll put in the number of students, another space, and a sort of a bar, and then we'll put credit hours. Another bar, and I think I put a space in each one of these. All right, nope, I don't want to do that yet. And then for I, comma, D, and enumerate. And we're going to enumerate one of the rows. So summary underscore data 0. What that does is it's going to give you CE. For example, you know, we're doing this first row here. It's going to give you CE in for D, for your data, D, you know, small d for data, and it'll give you I is equal to 0 for that's the index. That's what enumerate does. It gives you two different things. It gives you the index and it gives you the data. And then I'm going to use the I in order to grab that 429, and I'm going to use that I to grab that 1269.5. So that's why I like to use enumerate, because it does all of those things for us. And then we want to print, oops, F comes first. It'll be the F string, and then we're going to go bar, bar. Okay, so I'm going to put the department in here, and what would that look like? I think it's D. And then the question is, how many spaces do we have? How many padding do we have? So I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want this to be 6 wide. And I don't know, maybe we can put it in the middle. And then the number of students is simply going to be summary data. And I got to go, so this is the 0th row. So if here, let me go to, so it might be easier to see this way. So this is the 0th row with all those things in it. I need to go to the first row. So I need to go to 1. So summary data 1. And then the index is going to be I. So I'm going to go to the I ith column. So in this case, so the I is coming in, it's enumerating that summary data. It's giving me back every time it sort of goes through, it gives me back 0 for this one, 1 for that one, 2 to that one, 3 to that one. So then I can use that I to grab that number and that number, and I can grab that number in these as well. So that's the idea behind it. And let's see, that'd be I. And the question is, how many spaces do we need? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How about 15? Let's go. I don't know what that's going to look like. We'll print it out and see what it looks like and then come back to it. And then summary. So the same business here. Summary data. So the second row, right? So now I'm coming down here to grab that number, and then the ith column. And then how many is in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it looks like. So again, then we'll center it and see what that looks like. And then, okay, so let's just run this and find out what happens. I haven't really opened a file yet, so I haven't closed one. I just want to see what happens when I print this off. A lot of times that will be helpful. So is that what we want it to look like inside the file? I don't know. I guess. Because the 92's in the middle, the 315's in the, I mean, all these things are sort of done in the middle. So yeah. Yeah. Here, let's just see what it looks like to the left or the right. I don't know. Put it over there. Put this one over there. And run it again. Do we like that better? It's sort of hard to say. I guess that's okay. That's how we'll do it. I don't know. It looks fine. That's how we'll do it for the file. All right. Now we're going to go to the file. So this part only prints to the screen, and now we got to use this information that we did up here in order now to print to the file. So I'm going to call this thing out file. And, you know, of course, since I called it in file up here, anytime I'm going to produce something, so a file, I'm going to call it out file, and then out file is equal to open, and then we can just do file. Hopefully this thing does what it's supposed to do. Oh, that's not what I want it to look like. I don't want it to be courses. Let's see, courses, is it summary? Yeah, let's do this. Summary, something like that. Instead of courses, because I think it'll name it the same thing as that, which is not what I want. I want to have summary. Okay. So out file, and then comma. Instead of the R for the read that it was last time, I'm going to do a W. So that's going to tell it it's going to write. And there's a way to do an append as well if you wanted to read and to write into it. But we're not going to be reading and then writing. We're just going to be writing in this one. So we'll just use the W. Let's see. Do we want underscore? Yeah, I'm going to put an underscore in here. Underscore text. Let's see. Summary underscore semester. Does that make sense? I like that. Okay. And then remember, whenever you open a file, we immediately close it. So out file dot close. This is just so it doesn't get corrupted. You don't want your stuff to get corrupted. And then the first thing that we're going to do is the same thing that we did over here. We printed off this first line here. So our out file will look a lot like this print statement. So I'm just going to come up here to the print statement and grab all of it, and we're going to add one little thing to it. So out file. And then we have to add a new line. So if you don't add a new line, it'll give you something weird. So we got to put a new line in there. I think it's \n, yeah, \n. And then we're going to do the same stuff here. So I'm going to grab this, Control V. Let me highlight it. Oh no, it's just this one line. We're going to take it backwards. Yeah. And then instead of print, we're going to have out file. Oh. Right. So should be outFile.write, and then all of that information, and then outFile.write, and then F, and it looks like we might go a little too, like we went one space over, so I'm not going to allow that to happen. So what I will do is put a F. Okay, so that should be good to go. So F, I didn't in my parenthesis, I have that. Okay, hopefully that'll work. And then we can either put the slash in here, or we can outFile another one. So we'll just put the slash in right there. All right, let me close all this and just sort of walk through to make sure it makes sense. So I have my open, I'm doing the file, which I called this thing. I'm closing it right here. I'm throwing in a header file or header line, header row, I guess. And then I'm putting in each one of these rows for each piece of data that's in my summary data, 0. Okay, I think that should work. It should look a lot like that thing. So let me hit the big green button up here. I like the green buttons. And then it printed, it did everything that I asked it to do. So let's see if it produced 451. So if you look at my computer, it's 451, and this is the text document 451, and we can open it. And I will pull it over here, and it looks like it did what we wanted to do. Okay. If you don't believe me, well, you know what? I'll just delete this one, and I'll delete this one. We'll redo it. So hit the green button again, and then pull up this thing, and you can see summary 21.1 is in there, and you double click it and you get that, right? So you get the time, right? So 452, and you can see that OneNote or OneDrive is trying to put it back in there, and it did, and it's a pretty small file or small picture. So I think this is pretty readable. It's giving it over to the right. I mean, again, you can sort of decide how you want to do this. Again, many implementations of this thing. I just did it this way because that's, or many different questions you could probably answer as well. It's just I did it this way because that's how we wanted to introduce this. All right, that should be it for this lesson. You should know how to do 3 things. So let's go back. We know how to read in a file. We know how to use that and put it into some sort of data structure for use in the future. We know how to go back from lesson 2 to use that data to create something different, right? So you might need to go through each one of the lines that's in your data structure and do something with it. And then video 3 shows you how to put it out to a file. So it goes from looking something like this into some sort of aggregate thing like that. All right, that is all I got.